And a very pleasant good evening and welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk. We're here every Monday night on Facebook Live. You can also find us via replay on YouTube and the audio version, the podcast version on SoundCloud. But glad you're able to join us for this edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College athletics. It's an interactive format here on Tornado Talk. So if you're watching on Facebook Live, we encourage you to submit questions, have comments. We'd love to hear from you as a part of NATO Nation. And very pleased to have with us tonight a special edition of Tornado Talk, as we're going to take a deep dive into the Brevard College women's basketball program. Head coach Donald Hudson. He's also a Brevard College alumnus, class of 2011. He's entering his fifth year as head coach of the Tornadoes. Coach Hudson, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
And also with us, assistant coach Taylor Hiatt. She's an alum of Brevard College as well, class of 2015, and she's entering her fifth year as assistant women's basketball coach for the Tornadoes. Coach Hiatt, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
Well, great to talk some women's hoops in July. I really am looking forward to this, catching up with you two and again to recap last year's season, but also look ahead to what's to come for the Tornadoes women's basketball team. And would like to start kind of going through some of the highlights of last year and love to see if I can spark some memories from you all as far as this last season goes. And, the first thing that comes to mind, November 13th, the season opener. Start off with a win, 65-56 over Toccoa Falls at the Bosch. Deja Riddick with a big 22-point victory. That's big, right? Just to start the season with a win. I know lots of time goes into that preseason preparation, and you always want to start off with a W. Do you guys recall that season opener?
Absolutely. Being able to get that win at home and get us started off on the right foot, that was a big deal for us. You go through the preseason and you go through your practices leading up to that first game, but you never quite know what to expect. You have the film of the team that you're playing from the previous year, but you don't know what they've changed or personnel, bringing in new freshmen, bringing in transfers and everything. So getting that win, and like you said, Deja playing well that game. We had some other performances they helped us get over the hump that game, but it just got us started off on the right foot. Toccoa Falls is a team that we've played for the past 2 years. We'll play them again this upcoming year. Around the same time. It'll be early in the season. Hopefully that's another game and we can get off on the right foot. I think it will be at their place with a doubleheader with the men.
Very good. And a message already from NATO Nation popping up onto the screen. Jordan Monique Hiatt with a Go WBB quadruple exclamation point on the message. So thank you for your support, Jordan Hiatt. Now, Coach Hiatt, about a week later after that Toccoa Falls season opener, if you recall, another big win at the Bosch. This a 64-57 win over Bob Jones. And what's notable about this one, Shakira Thompson, 19 points, 5 3-pointers. She was on fire that night. I see you nodding your head. Shakira Thompson with just a big explosion that night. What comes to mind when I mention that game?
Something we wanted to see all season, something we know she's capable of, something that's impressive that a lot of people can't do. I think that game will always stand out to her, especially. I mean, it's a win at home in front of people, in front of your friends. But to just do that from the line is just incredible, no matter the game.
Yeah, no doubt. Whenever you see the 5 3-pointers made in that stat column, you've got to turn your head. Mm-hmm. 3 USA South Conference wins kind of over that stretch, December into the new year, from December 7th through January 10th, wins over Wesleyan and Agnes Scott, actually a sweep of Wesleyan. And then kind of a rough little stretch at the end of January, but bounced back big with a strong February. To start the month of February, 3 straight wins on the road at LaGrange and at Bob Jones, and then a 3rd straight road win at Agnes Scott. Coach Hudson, coming off, it had been a while since you had gotten a W, but then a big start to that month of February with those 3 straight road wins.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And going into the season, we knew that stretch in January, just speaking about, we knew it was going to be tough. We were playing a lot of the top teams in the conference. A lot of those games were on the road. We spent a lot of time on the road in January, and unfortunately, we were not able to come out on top of some of those games, but we played well in some of them. Played well enough to win, just didn't quite get over the hump. And then going into February, we were able to kind of turn the page into the last month of the season. Focus in a little bit. Focus in, got a couple of home games, and got some favorable matchups on the road. We were able to get a few wins and finish February off the way we wanted to.
Yeah, no doubt. February 1st, that game at LaGrange, a 65-54 road win. Taryn Ledford with 13 points. Destini Williams, 13 points, and a big night on the board with 9 rebounds. Coach Hiatt, that was a big win to kind of snap that drought and get back in your winning ways. You recall that road trip to LaGrange?
I do, and I mainly remember our LaGrange games at LaGrange because if you've looked at our seasons and playing there, we've lost very, very close games. They're like by 2 points or less. So just to finally get a win there and get over that hump of playing there, winning there, it's just I probably won't ever forget that game because we finally got a win at LaGrange, like just finally. And there was a lot of emotions that week going into that game. It's the same week I'm pretty positive that Kobe passed away. So it was, trying to corral our team. We didn't know him personally, but everybody knew Kobe Bryant. So just corralling the team, getting them all in to play for something more. I'll always remember the LaGrange game.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Coach Hiatt. The game versus Covenant was the blackout for Black Mamba game, a doubleheader at the Bosch. And, even though the result wasn't what the Tornadoes wanted that day versus Covenant, certainly a big-time tribute to the late Kobe Bryant. We see another message here from Madison Lenox. Nice use of the emojis there. Getting that tornado emoji going. Coach, so that February continued with a big, just decisive win over Bob Jones, 54-39. And this was the point of the season where Tyche Washington was starting to find her stride after missing much of the season with an injury. She scored 11 points. And then a win over Agnes Scott. Again, Washington, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 assists. Destini Williams, 12 points and 8 rebounds. So really starting to, get into a groove a bit with those 3 straight wins, LaGrange, Bob Jones, and Agnes Scott. And, you had to be pleased to have both Tyche and Destini Williams both full strength by this point.
Yes. And all throughout the year, Phil, we feel like there were games that we could have gotten. We could have gotten if we were at full strength, but nobody cares about us being injured in January or December. It's another game for them. But down the stretch, we were able to get our team together and get a full complement. And you see what we're able to do. We kind of started to hit our stride late into January, into February. It's when you really want to hit your stride as a college basketball team. Playing for a tournament bid, you want to be playing your best basketball around late January, February, going into March. That's when you want to be playing your best basketball. And fortunately enough, we were able to do that and come away with some wins. And getting Tyche back kind of put, and I spoke on this before when we've been on the podcast, it just put everybody else at ease. It put everybody else at their natural position, and she makes the game easier for everyone else. She can, 85% of the time, she's going to beat her initial matchup. The first person in front of her, she's going to beat that person. Now it's going to be about making the right secondary play, making the right pass, skip, dump down to a big, or finishing for herself. And that was something that we missed all year. We missed that all year. We kind of filled that role by committee. Taryn did a really good job of playing the point and holding that down until Tyche came back. Shakira played a little bit of point. We moved Destini over the point. Mel played some point. But they're not natural point guards. They were kind of doing it as an out of necessity for the team. And I might thank all of them for that. But you can see when she came back, it kind of put everybody at ease. And it made the game easier. And it was a lot of fun to watch.
Following those 3 straight wins, a trip to Lookout Mountain, Georgia, and this afternoon was a remarkable one. I remember being back here at the Boschmer Gymnasium receiving reports from the folks at Covenant whether this game was going to be played at all. ends up being delayed by 3 hours due to weather and road conditions, and ultimately a real tough 46-44 loss at Covenant. But both Coach Hudson and Coach Hiatt, I know you guys were pleased with kind of how the team dealt with, sort of that adversity and was still able to perform that evening. Just a weird set of circumstances when you can't make it up into the mountains because of some icy roads, but the game was played. I'm sure that one will be one you remember.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the conditions were not ideal at all. It was scheduled for a 2 p.m. tip-off, but we wake up in the morning and look out and see snow all over the ground. We're thinking there's no way we're going to be able to get up the mountain. And so we kind of communicated back and forth between us and the Covenant staff, and we talked to Miranda, our athletic director, and everything, and they gave us great direction. And the game was pushed, I think, to 5 or 6 maybe, and the team responded well. And they kind of threw a wrench in our normal Saturday routine as far as waking up, getting breakfast, and getting over to gym and getting ready to go. Kind of stayed around, watched a little bit of film on Covenant at the hotel. The hotel was generous enough to give us one of their club rooms, their ballrooms, and we watched a little bit of film and got ready to go. And that's another game that we really had a chance to win. Lost by 2, had the ball, sideline out of bounds, ran a decent play, got a decent shot in the air. Just didn't go our way. Low scoring game. Both teams, I think, were impacted by the late start, kind of pushed everybody out of their rhythm. Sloppy game early, back and forth. They were able to come up with a win at home and send us back home to Brevard.
Do you want to mention this message here from Dana Hudson, go Brevard women's basketball, and TJ's watching his uncle. I'd imagine that's you, Coach Hudson.
Yeah, that's my baby sister right there, and TJ's my nephew.
Very good. You can't start them early enough with the NATO Nation and the Tornado family. So great
Absolutely.
to see TJ part of the show. Well,
Absolutely.
A tough loss to Piedmont, one of the best teams in the USA South, and then a big bounce back in the season finale. And we're going to go into that in details. We'll get to Miranda's question a little later in the show, talk about the highlights of your incoming class. But let's wrap up this 2019-2020 season first. That season finale, a 56-52 win over Pfeiffer on Senior Day. Seniors Krista Davis and Elena Perez are honored. Before we get into the details of that game, which will forever be, stamped on a lot of NATO Nation's memories as far as a big highlight, I do want to talk about those 2 seniors, Krista Davis and Elena Perez. Great contributions from these 2 senior athletes throughout their career, and what a great way for them to go out. Coach Hiatt, thoughts on that 2-lady senior class, Krista Davis and Elena Perez?
Well, I'll start with Elena first. And after every last game for our seniors, HUD, in the locker room, we go around the room and somebody says something to the seniors if they want, and if not, they just pass. So I feel like since I've already said this to the team, I can say it again. When I met Elena when she was a freshman, we were going through one of our first practices, and she asked me where the out-of-bounds line was, because I guess at her high school she didn't have the big, thick color on the baseline. That was my first impression of Elena, and I was like, oh, my Lord, what's going to happen? But to see her come into her senior year and play positive minutes, her highlight film that we put together and put on our Instagram feed, the steals that she got and the plays that she made, no matter what point of the game, it just made everybody so excited for her and to be in that moment. And the team just kind of fed off of that. And the energy just kind of kept going throughout the team, just watching Elena, blossom, so to say. And then with Krista, working with her, Coach Hudson normally works with the guards and I work with the post. And just her being more vocal, asking me questions, trying to get better, working, going against Avery every day. It's not easy and it's really hard. But I think it helped her, and she definitely came out of her shell a little bit, asking me more questions about how to be better and how to finish better. So just watching her grow once she came to us was an awesome experience. It was an awesome experience for both of them, but it's definitely sad to not have them anymore.
And then that senior day, the team motivated to send out their 2 seniors. It also, last chance to make a stamp on the season, and backs were against the wall a little bit heading into that fourth quarter, and then Taisha Washington really just takes over in a lot of ways. 10 points in that fourth quarter. She went 4 for 4 from the field, hit a couple of three-pointers. Destini Williams with a big day with 14 points, but a team victory all the way around, a 56-52 win over Pfeiffer. Coach Hudson, great way to end the season and to send those two seniors off with that win over Pfeiffer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just something about senior day, Phil. We've had a lot of special moments here since we've been at the head of this program on senior day. Like, we've played well, got some wins, and you just see performances that you didn't see throughout the year. I don't know what it is about that day when those seniors just realize it's my last one, just let everything out, and it's fun to watch. There was another game where it went back and forth, and we were both teams, us and Pfeiffer, teams that we're not playing for a tournament bid or anything. So you could kind of see it early in the game. Both teams kind of going through the motions a little bit. But as the game were to go on, both teams played better down the stretch. It was a game that could have went either way. Like you said, Tasha had a really big fourth quarter. Asia played well. Krista played well. Elena did some good things. I think Shakira was coming off of an ankle injury that week. I think she turned her ankle that week, and she missed a couple of days of practice. But she was able to get out there and give us what she had. And as a team, it took everybody. It took everybody in that locker room to get that win and send the seniors out the way that we want to send them out.
Following the season, the USA South Conference hands out awards. Destini Williams with a all-sportsmanship team honoree, and 7 women's basketball student athletes named USA South all-academic all-conference. Krista Davis, Elena Perez, the 2 seniors, Victoria Green, Taryn Ledford, Bailey Ray, Brianna Ware, and Destini Williams. Destini, by the way, earns the with distinction honor. That's for a 3.90 GPA or higher. Just an outstanding showing for the women's basketball team to have 7 all-academic members. Coach Hiatt, I'd imagine you all are very proud of that kind of academic performance.
I mean, basketball is a big part of why the girls come to Brevard, but school is what gets them through to their ultimate goal, to getting a job, to having that education. Basketball is just a fun part in between. But yeah, the biggest thing is these girls taking care of their business. And we did study hall just like every other team did, making sure our girls are on top of things, getting the early and often alerts about girls that weren't on top of it. So we had those conversations with them, which isn't always easy to have. But having those conversations and letting them know, like, hey, we're here to help if you need it. Like, don't be nervous about it. Don't be embarrassed about it. So I think we had a 3.34 team GPA, if I remember right. That's bigger than any win we will ever have, is having kids that are dedicated in the classroom and on the floor. So yeah, it was exciting.
Outstanding. Coach, haven't had the chance to talk to you directly since these all academic awards were handed out and these final GPAs posted. Just like Coach Hiatt said, I'd imagine this is something you're really proud of as well.
Yeah, that's the ultimate win. Coach Hiatt summed it up perfectly. And we're here to play basketball. Of course, that's fun. We love to win games, but we understand that's not the end all. We want to make sure that when they graduate, the kids are prepared to go off into society, and taking care of your business in the classroom is a big part of that. And Coach Hiatt did a really good job with our study hall this year. But it boils down to the girls taking it on themselves and making sure they take care of their business. We can preach to them until we're blue in the face about what you need to do. Be on time, go to class, take care of your business, sit first 3 rows. But it's up to them. It's up to them to make that decision. Okay, I'm going to do this. And I think that also goes back to the upbringing. The upbringing with the parents have done a really good job of letting them know that this is how things work. You're going to go to school, you're going to play basketball, but you're also going to do a really good job in the classroom. We benefit from that.
The comments from NATO Nation continue to roll in here. Jared Bing says, way to go, Coach. We're rooting for you guys. So great to hear from Jared and all of NATO Nation. Good to see, Coach Hud's family showing up big here this evening. Well, that leads us to this coming season as Destini Williams chiming in there. Good to see Destini on the Facebook Live broadcast also. So we had a question earlier from Miranda Nash. What does this year's incoming class look like? And can you talk about some of those highlights, who we can look forward to, or perhaps the type of newcomer who might be arriving here to Brevard College? Can you give NATO Nation a bit of a sneak peek as far as this year's incoming class?
Yes, absolutely. Going into this recruiting class, Coach Hiatt and I both knew that we're losing a lot. Like after this season passes, we'll graduate 7 or 8 kids, and that's big. That's a lot. So we knew we need to get out and bring in a nice sized class. But with that being said, we wanted to make sure that we were bringing in quality people. So we did a really good job of early on getting into the high school games, summer league games and everything, and getting to know these kids, getting them on campus for visits, constant communications through phone lines and everything, texting and everything, just getting to know who we're bringing in. We'll have a class size of 8 right now. This is the biggest class we've had since the kids that will graduate this year. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but it's been a big class. And few of them will definitely come in and compete for starting spots. The competition brings out the best in everyone. So we made sure that we got out, brought in some quality people, good players that's going to come in and push what we have. We have a group of seniors this year that's been around us for the last 4 years, so they know exactly what we expect. So they kind of have a heads up on the new incoming freshmen. But I tell you what, Phil, it's going to be competitive. We got some talent. And that helps with depth. We've run into issues in the past where we lose a few kids to injuries, and it kind of hurts in practice. We have limited numbers. So this year we're going to have the biggest roster size we've ever had. Like right now we're looking at having 19 on the roster. That's huge. That's big for us. Usually we're around 12 or 13, 15 being the most we've ever had. But going to 19 this year, it's going to be super competitive in practice, and we're ready for it. But the biggest thing to us with this class was making sure we got quality people that's going to come in and buy into everything that we're trying to teach them. And they're also going to learn from our upperclassmen. Our seniors that are leaving, they know it's their responsibility to pass on what they know to the next generation. And it's just a cycle. Then when this class gets to the junior and senior year, they're able to give back to the freshman and sophomore that we bring in. And that's how you build tradition. That's how you get a program that's good every year. You're not just rebuilding, you're kind of retooling. And that's what we're aiming for now.
Outstanding. And Coach Hiatt, it sounds like a lot of balance altogether as far as, this upcoming roster, veterans, newcomers across all the positions. You're pleased with kind of how it's all sort of fallen into place?
I am. And just like Coach Hudson said, I've been on the phone with my family multiple times. I'm so excited for this season because we have kids coming in that are going to compete with our seniors and make them work harder than they probably ever have for their position. So it's just going to make practice. I'm not even talking about games yet. I'm talking about practice so much more fun and so much more competitive. And our players now, they love that stuff. They love the competitive stuff. Deja Riddick, if she could do playing 5-on-5 for an entire practice every single day, she would be the happiest kid on the planet. She just wants to play. So I'm so excited for how competitive this class is and how they're going to push the kids that we already have to be the best versions they can be to finish out their collegiate careers.
Well, congratulations. I know you all have been working hard, over these years to kind of build this roster and really exciting stuff. Looking forward to this year's team. Now, a question here from Kevin Lockwood and Coach Hudson. I'm very well aware that, there's a lot of unknowns still with, what's going on in the world with the pandemic and so forth, and across college campuses everywhere. So, a lot of things are still in flux, but perhaps we can take a stab at this one and try to answer it the best we can. What does the season schedule look like with the academic calendar ending at Thanksgiving? Could you take that one on for us, Coach Hudson, from a basketball standpoint?
Yes, sir. I got it. As of right now, we're going to play a full season. That's the latest I've heard. But as you know, things are changing every day. Things are changing daily with closings and different schools pushing to different things, different conferences going to all spring athletics, nothing in the fall. We haven't got any of that yet. So there's nothing definitive about what we're going to do. But as of right now, July 13th, 2020, we'll be playing a full season.
Yep, and I do want to encourage folks to go to brevard.edu. There's a tab there on COVID-19 updates with all the absolute latest, and you can stay up to date on the academic calendars and so forth. Lauren Locklear chiming in. Hey, Hud, LeBron or MJ? Wow, like we're getting into some deep, sports talk here. I'd like to hear from each of you on this one, and maybe I could even chime in for a second or two. But Coach Hud, you want to get us started? LeBron or MJ?
Yeah, got it. Both really, really great basketball players that changed the game when they both came along. But it's MJ for me. MJ for me is the GOAT. He's the best to ever play. But LeBron's not far behind. Not far behind. Things are going on in Orlando right now. The season's going to tip back off the end of the month, I think, July 30th, and hopefully the Lakers can win another championship. But as of right now, it's MJ for me.
Coach Hiatt?
It's also and will forever be MJ for me. I'm a Tar Heel fan, born and bred. He played there, obviously, so I will always be an MJ fan. And any of our players, any of our recruits know that MJ looks over our locker room daily, and he's been there since I played here. So I'm MJ.
All right. Well, I've got every reason to say LeBron. I am a lifelong Miami Heat fan. I did a lot of work with the Miami Heat. I was there for the 2 championships that LeBron brought to the Miami Heat. But despite my heart saying that, I've got to go with my head, Michael Jordan, and it was reaffirmed by the watching of the Last Dance documentary on ESPN, the 10-part special. After watching that, it's no doubt. So we're a unanimous MJ answer on that one. Avery Lockwood chiming in with the emojis. Great to see Avery on the Facebook Live broadcast. Now, we're talking this upcoming season, and the big news across Brevard College athletics. Brevard College is now officially a member of the NCAA Division III. This has been a process, multiple years. A year was bypassed. A waiver was obtained by the Brevard College athletic department to bypass a year and to kind of fast forward the process. But the end result is full-time membership now of NCAA Division III, also full-time membership in USA South Conference. That means postseason play. The Tornadoes will be eligible for both the conference championships as well as the NCAA tournament. And also eligible, we talked about some of those awards, but even more awards the Tornadoes will be eligible for on a national level. Coach Hudson, big news for the team, and I'd imagine a big motivator as you're coaching these student athletes and looking ahead to some goals.
Yeah, that's great news. Great news, not just for the women's basketball team, but for the whole athletic department. Everybody gets a chance to compete to make it to the postseason, and that's really why you play, Phil. And going into this year, we have a team that we think can do that. This is the kind of team, if everything goes well, everybody stays injury-free, this is the kind of team you want as a coach. You recruit a group, you bring them through your program, and now they're to the point where they can pretty much do everything on their own. They can pretty much run a practice by themselves, but they know what to expect. And with the incoming class that we're bringing in, hopefully we're able to do that. But the biggest thing to me is it's motivation. It's added motivation. Coming down the stretch of a season when you're not playing for anything, it's kind of tough to motivate in practice and get the best out of everybody when you know that is going to be the last thing. No matter what we do, how good we play, how bad we play, this is going to be our last one. But now you're going to compete all year and try to jock for seeding that 1 through 6 and try to be a part of that. And we've talked about that. We talked about it this past year. Like coming down the stretch of the season, that Covenant game that we talked about with the snow in and everything, that would have been a huge game, a really huge game for us as far as seeding and making the tournament. Like with us losing that game, we would have to, I think, the 7th spot, 1 spot out of the tournament. So just getting that experience and be able to talk about that for the past few years, hopefully that helps us going forward. We know that being a part of the tournament is fun. It's fun. It's one and done. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. That's the part about March Madness that makes it so fun. And hopefully we can be a part of that this year.
Yeah, no doubt. It's created a lot of excitement during this offseason and a lot to look forward to with the full-time membership of NCAA Division III and USA South Conference. Message here from Maya Mills, student manager of Brevard College women's basketball. Miss you, Coach Hud and Coach Hiatt. Student managers are a very important part of this whole program, right, Coach Hiatt? Can you tell us a little more? And when I mention Mills and Hollinger and some of these student managers over the years, what comes to mind?
Amazing, grateful. Their willingness to just help us with anything, especially having them there during practice to run the clock so that HUD and I can actually focus on what the girls are doing, where they're moving, how they're moving, so we can correct that instead of paying attention to the clock like, oh, we've got to put time up, or the shot clock. Because as freshmen coming in, you don't have that in high school. So it's a major adjustment trying to get those girls used to that. But having Tasha and Mia there this season was awesome, super helpful. Takes a lot of things off of our minds that we don't have to think about. They just do it. They're there to do whatever we need them to do, and they're willing to do it and don't complain about doing it. So definitely love having them around. I'm going to miss them. I know me as a senior this year, she'll be our 8th senior. So it'll be big shoes to fill for the next person that wants to step in and do that.
Absolutely.
Great contributions for those two. And Coach Hudson, it's a great opportunity for them to gain experience and kind of see behind the scenes what it's like to be part of a sports organization. And if indeed they want to get into coaching, it's a great springboard for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like Coach Hiatt said, they do a really good job for us. Take a lot off of our plate that we don't have to worry about. And they're really good people, Phil. I know I've said that a few times about what we have, but that's important to me. That's important to me. I want to be surrounded by people that have high character and people that know that's going to have my back no matter what's going on. They both brought that to the table this year, and I really thank them for it.
Mia Mills and Jatasha Hollinger, thanks for all your hard work behind the scenes. Well, we've talked about it a little bit tonight, 5th season coming up for you two. And a note here from Bridget Hiatt, NATO Nation, it's your year. I like this hashtag. We might be onto something here. Appreciate that, Bridget. So 5th year for each of you, and things are starting to gel a little roster-wise. But I'd imagine in those academic numbers we talked about are a testament to it. Things are starting to come into play as far as your team culture and some of the things you're looking for and some of those systems in place. Could each of you share a little bit when I mention team culture, what comes to mind, and what are your priorities as a coaching staff as far as the experience that these student athletes receive?
Okay, I'll go first. And to talk, it's kind of two-part to me. You have on the court and off the court. As far as off the court, we want to make sure that, once again, bringing in good people. But as a coaching staff, we're making sure that when they leave here, they're prepared. We don't just want to go out and win a ton of basketball games and not help them be good people going down the road. It's our job to help them when they graduate and know that they're going to be positive citizens in the world. That's our ultimate win. That's our ultimate win. So our job is to make sure that we're here and our door is always open to help them with anything they have any issues with, not just basketball. It can be family related, academic, social life, everything. We're here to help them be well-rounded and just help them get to that next step of life. Parents drop them off as 17, 18-year-old freshmen. They want to make sure they're taken care of. And we're going to provide that. We're going to do our best to make sure that when they're here, they're going to have a good experience as far as being a college athlete and hopefully enjoy the campus and everything and just enjoy the time as a college student. Off the court, that's who we are. But on the court, we want to be a team that's known for making you work for everything. We want to play really tough defensively, make you work for every basket, challenge every shot, and run quality offense. We want to be a team that if you beat us, you're going to know you're in a fight. You're going to know when you fight. Has it always gone that way? It has not. It has not. There have been times when we go out there and we'll lay duds at times. But for the most part, it's been consistent. We've left a lot of wins on the table, I think. We've had a lot of opportunity to, instead of being sub 500, there were times we could have been plus 500 to me at the end of the season. If you go back and watch some of the tapes, you can see that we made mistakes and blunders that hurt ourselves. We got to continue to bring in quality people that buy into the program and that want to be successful and want to help everybody else. We have a word here, and it's sisterhood. Very cliche. A ton of people probably use it, but we mean that. We mean that. And to me, that means that I'm going to do whatever I have to do to help the person beside me. When I put on that Brevard blue, black, gray, whatever we have, whatever we'll be wearing, it's not about me anymore. It's not about me. We're going for something that's bigger than an individual. And that's what we want. And that's what we're going to continue to strive for as far as culture here at Brevard College.
Coach Hiatt, anything to add there in terms of that team culture and perhaps what's going on maybe behind the scenes in terms of keeping the team unified?
I feel like the biggest thing that we missed this past season, not having Annalie. Annalie was our leader. Annalie Bollinger, for those of you that don't know who I'm talking about, she was our leader. She was the one everybody went to. She was the voice. And this season, you can definitely tell we were missing that leader role, the person that was going to stand up, get everybody together. Especially with Tashay being out, everybody was kind of just like, who do we look to? Because also Destini was out because of her shoulder. So it was just kind of like everybody was kind of like, who do we go to? Who do we look at? So my biggest thing for this season specifically, not to just have one leader specifically, but to have these kids that are coming in look up and let the seniors guide them to what HUD and I are trying to continually build each year. And like he said, sisterhood, I've got your back, you've got mine, kind of. Well, not kind of, that's what we want. We want you to know, like, hey, you get beat off the dribble, I've got your help side. I will be there. You don't have to foul. I'm going to have your back, kind of deal. That's the mentality that we're wanting for each of our players to have, and to not stress that their teammate isn't going to be there to help them out. So that's what we're stressing right now.
Well, and we've mentioned also that you both are alums of Brevard College. And, kind of what I'd like to get to the crux of with this next question is Brevard College as a whole. What makes Brevard College special? What's unique about the student-athlete experience at Brevard College? And, as alums and now coaches here at Brevard College, any words to perhaps a young future tornado who might be checking us out?
Yeah. Brevard has done a lot for me. And it's done a lot for Coach Hiatt. We both came here and were able to continue to chase our dreams, and play basketball and football at a really high level and meet some good people, meet some good friends. I met a lot of lifelong friends at Brevard, guys that I still keep in touch with to this day. And that's what you get. I know you get that at a lot of colleges, but to me, it's the people here that kind of make this place. Now, there's a ton of different schools you can go to play basketball and be in a small environment, but it's really quality people that work here. And the school does a really good job of taking care of its own. We both graduated from here, and all throughout campus, you have people that work here that were students here. And that kind of shows you that the college, it takes care of its own people, and it's just a fun place to be. It's a fun place to be. I really enjoy coming into work. It's not a job to me. I tell a lot of people I haven't worked in 10 years. Now, I really don't consider this work. I really enjoy what I do, enjoy meeting quality people and seeing people and seeing the kids kind of develop from freshmen to sophomore to junior to seniors. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty in it to me.
Coach Hiatt?
Yeah. Brevard as a whole, Brevard is just like the small town that I'm from, Mount Airy, North Carolina, and I wanted to feel like I was home even when I wasn't home, and Brevard gave me that. Everybody in town knew who you were, especially as an athlete, and just like Coach HUD tells our recruits, the people that used to be at his games when he played were at mine and are still coming to games. So just having that support from the community, and even professors coming to games. I know when I played, my professors would be like, hey, you've got a game tonight, right? I'm going to try and make it. Just having that support from your professors, not only them supporting you in your sport, but also working with you in your classroom stuff, because I was a biology major and trying to take organic chemistry, which is a 2-semester class, and play basketball, I thought was going to be the death of me. But the professor worked with me. All my other professors worked with me, and they were just so understanding and just did anything they could to help me out. and work with me, when we had away games and had to travel. Just the professors are super helpful to our student athletes. And that's a big part of our success is the professors helping with that. And also, like Coach Hudson said, the friends that we have and that we made at Brevard. I'm still in touch with mine. 2 of my old teammates are in my wedding in October. So it's just keeping those connections. And it's just great to be able to talk about old times at Brevard because they don't know me from high school. They know me from Brevard. So being able to bring up those old times and them coming to games and reaching out saying, like, how's your season going? It's just awesome that they still check in and care. So.
Now, would like to touch on each of your backgrounds just a little more because there's some of our audience who may be learning about us for the first time. And Coach Hudson, we've been mentioning that you're a Brevard College alumnus, but what a lot of people may not know is that you were a dual sport student athlete. You also played football here. I remember, remembering some of those times when we had Coach Mike Jones, his induction into the Hall of Fame, and we were telling some of those stories. But can you reflect back on kind of that student athlete experience for you at Brevard College, being a dual sport athlete?
Yeah, it was an opportunity to further my playing career. Back in 2006, graduated high school. Coming out of high school, didn't really know which direction I was going to go. Got a call from Brevard really late in the recruiting process, and it was the best decision I made. Coming here and getting outside of myself. This is a lot different here than it is back home. Back in Augusta, Georgia, it's a lot different. It's a lot slower here, but that's who I am. That's who I am, and I kind of embraced that and made some friends that'll last a lifetime. And I think that's what kept a lot of us here. A lot of my friends that I played with didn't really get the playing time that they kind of desired and what they wanted and what they deserved at times. We had each other. We had each other, and that's what got us through. That's what got us through on the football field. And basketball-wise, the 2010 year that we were able to go to the tournament and win that tournament, that's a year that I'll never forget. I'll never forget, not just because of the winning and the end result of a championship, just the close-knit group of guys that year. Everybody had each other's back, and it kind of speaks to the culture of everything that we're trying to build here as well. It's not just you play 4 years for a certain coach and you go on into your life. No, it's a lifelong bond. It's not like you play, you graduate, hey, I don't ever want to see you again. I never see you again. No, I want to check on you. I want to make sure you're doing well. You're 30, you're married, you have kids. I'm in your town, I'm in your city. Let's have dinner and let's talk a little bit. That's what I got here. And I want to make sure that everybody that comes through our program, everybody that plays for us, I want to make sure that they get that same feeling when they leave. I want them to want to come back to homecoming, come check out games just to see how everything's going. Come see some old teammates and relive memories. And I think that if we can give that to each player that comes through, to me, this may sound crazy, but to me, that's bigger than a championship. Of course, that we want to win. Yes, don't get that misconstrued. We want to win a championship, but we want to make sure that 10 years from now, everybody can still come back, talk to each other, and talk about these memories and still have those bonds.
That alumni experience, a big part of the equation, no doubt. And there's another Brevard College alum chiming in, Cavell Kingsbury, saying what's up to the gang here. Great to see a men's basketball alum chiming in. Coach Hiatt, you were a student athlete here at Brevard College, but also you got your coaching career kind of going early on, something that you were, kind of had your eyes on. And we mentioned Jatasha Hollinger earlier. There she is, one of those valuable student managers this past season, also a big part of the team as a player as well in earlier years. So great to see JT Hollinger chiming in. So Coach Hiatt, I'd like to learn more about your coaching experience beyond what we're seeing now as an assistant coach. This is something that's been in the back of your mind for a while, correct? Coaching basketball?
It just runs in my family more than anything. Like after high school, I played for the Surrey Storm basketball organization, which my dad now runs. And he had me coaching second and third graders. So that was the extent of my coaching career coming into college basketball. So way different, completely different. But so my dad's an AAU coach. My sister coached at Presbyterian College. This season was her last. She's out of coaching now. But it was something I was always passionate about. When Coach Hudson called me, I remember it was a Monday. It was raining. I was about to walk into Gold's Gym, and I just happened to answer my phone because it was the year after I graduated. And I stayed outside and just talked to him. And then I tried to get a workout done after that, and it wasn't happening. But it was just a no-brainer. I didn't even have to think about saying yes to the opportunity. I couldn't pass it up. It was just. But then my first season, I was part-time. So I had a lot to learn, still learning. But one thing that sticks out to me this past season, we were playing at home. Something happened. HUD subbed out. Deja came to the bench and went to sit down at the bottom. And it was like she didn't understand what he was trying to say when she was on the floor. So I got up, walked down to her, and explained it, got the board, drew it out. And I was like, do you have it now? We don't need to question it. Do you have it? And after that game, Tasha Washington came up to me. She was like, you were a coach today. She was like, you got out of your comfort zone. You grew today is pretty much what she was saying, because it's something I had never done. Normally Mia sits beside me and everybody sits away from me. Because if you've come to our games, you know that I'm the yeller and Coach Hudson is the calm one. We're just different in that way, but the girls know to expect that since they're in practice with us. But yeah, just being able to grow from my first year as a part-time coach until now, I still have a ton to learn, and I know that. But I feel like I've also come a long way and found my voice and how to talk to different players, to encourage them, to teach them, and so on and so forth.
Great to see Caro Addams chiming in. Miss you all so much. We miss you too, Caro. Coach Hudson, I know you're grateful to have Coach Hiatt at your side for all these years, and she's such a key part of this equation. Can you talk about your assistant coach a bit and perhaps show off, since I know she's on the humble side?
Yeah, absolutely. And she won't tell you these things, but she's been great. She's been great for me. Really good at the things that I suck at. I'm not a very organized person. I can kind of be doing 100 things at one time, and she's that balance that I need. Does a really good job of communicating with the girls. If it's something that's big and it needs to be brought to my attention, she'll do that. But if it's something that she can handle and I don't need to know about it, she does a really good job of that as well. And just having that balance that I need on a day-to-day basis to keep me in the road, keep me from going 100 miles per hour side to side, that's what she's brought. And I really appreciate that. Every day.
Well, Coach Hiatt, I'm going to let you return the favor. What's it like to have HUD as your boss?
So I don't know if we've said this part, but Coach HUD was actually the assistant coach my junior and senior seasons at Brevard. So he and I kind of already formed that relationship without knowing we were forming a coaching assistant coaching relationship. And he tells people I was a player but a coach on the floor. I was that player that got people where they were supposed to be. I wasn't the scorer. I wasn't great at anything, but I was like, get your butt over there. This is where you need to be. We got to run this play right. But just building that relationship with him, not knowing that this was going to happen, I think helped us out in the beginning, because we already knew how to communicate with each other that way. In basketball terms, I knew what he was looking for. For the most part, when, he was showing me the offense that he was wanting to run, because we were changing stuff from the previous coach. So, yeah, just having that relationship with him early, and he literally tells me thank you all the time, because I think of the small details, and for instance, with uniforms and where logos go, I was like, the girls won't need it there because they roll their shorts. Just stuff that guys don't think about, but that I, as a female, pay attention to. Just stuff like that. But he's just always saying thank you, saying, Coach, I appreciate you. He's all the time saying it. And just like you said, I'm humble, so normally I'll blush and be like, thanks. Okay, can we talk about something else? But I'm just super, super thankful for the opportunity that he has given me to not only grow as a coach, but grow as a person. So.
Very good. Well, just about time for us to sign off, but do want to give you each a chance to give a final message. Perhaps we've had a great showing from NATO Nation on the comments. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Coach Hiatt, we'll start with you. Final thoughts, or any sort of message you might want to pass along to NATO Nation?
Come out, support. It's going to be an exciting season, and I hope it's what my mom hashtagged. It's our year. I hope it is. It can be. It's something that's attainable. Has been every year. But I feel like right now our girls are, and I truly hope they are working to get ready for the preseason and hitting the ground running October 15th. And I'm super excited, and I hope we get big crowds. I hope we can show out and win a bunch of games at home and get that crowd back in the bleachers.
Outstanding. We got to pack that Bosch.
Yeah.
Coach Hudson, final thoughts.
Yeah. For one, thank you, Phil, for having us on. Taking a deep dive into our program, getting to know us a little bit better. I also want to thank everybody that tuned in. Everybody that's going to listen via SoundCloud. I want to thank you. Just thank everyone for all the support. From the games to practice to donations and everything. Anybody that support Brevard College women's basketball, I thank you. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can put a product on the floor that you guys are proud of this year. And that's everyone. That's people that have played for us, everyone. Just thank everybody. Thank you all for everything that you do for us. We really appreciate it.
Very good. Well, thank you, Head Coach Donald Hudson, Assistant Coach Tyler Hiatt from the Brevard College women's basketball team. Great to catch up with you all, talk some hoops in July, and really looking forward to this year's season. It's going to be an exciting one. Well, I want to thank you, the audience, for tuning in to this edition of Tornado Talk. It's been a fun evening talking women's basketball, and be sure to follow the Tornadoes. You can follow Brevard College Tornadoes Athletics at the official website, www.bctornadoes.com. You can also follow the NATOs on social media. Go to Twitter or Instagram at BC Tornadoes. Also, the Facebook page, Brevard College Tornado Athletics, the SoundCloud and YouTube pages as well. And look forward to seeing you next Monday for another exciting edition of Tornado Talk. Thanks again for joining us on this Monday night for Tornado Talk. Thank you, Coach Hudson. Thanks, Coach Hiatt. Go Tornadoes.
Good night, everyone.